Good evening and welcome to Sunset News on Thursday, the 16th of November. As always, we bring you the news, community stories, economics, weather and sports. I am Ashwin Berry. In the news tonight, the Walvish-based stocktake meeting coupled with the 20th WEMAF meeting unfolded on 15 November in a collective effort to address the climate emergency. This gathering aimed to foster collaboration, exchange ideas and contribute significantly to the global stocktake by formally submitting proposals to the UNFCCC. The key objectives of the intersection is to channel the collective wisdom and expertise of participants into a formal submission to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. The submission will articulate Namibia's stance, initiatives, and commitment to addressing climate change on a global scale. The ultimate goal is to make a substantial contribution to the ongoing global stocktake, a critical process in shaping international efforts to combat climate change. The UNFCCC, adopted in 1992 and enforced in 1994, outlined the mission to stabilize atmospheric concentrations of greenhouse gases. Namibia ratified this convention in 1995, leading to annual conferences of the parties to assess progress in dealing with climate change. According to Alpheus Shekunyenge, technical advisor for climate change, he emphasized that the nation has diligently implemented policy strategies and plans aligned with the convention's overarching objective. Now, Namibia has submitted 4 national communications and 4 biennial update reports demonstrating its commitment to transparent reporting. Moving over to our next story, Namibia just missed the list of the top 10 countries in the world when it comes to safety. Namibia has again been ranked one of the worst countries when it comes to law and order by global polling group Gallup, which has published the results of its latest poll taken from more than 140 countries. Overall, Namibia got a law and order score of 62. This is a decline from last year's score at 65 and makes Namibia the 11th worst country in the world when it comes to law and order. Gallup's latest results are based on interviews with more than 146,000 adults in more than 140 countries and areas in 2022. The group asked people about the level of crime in their area, how safe they felt walking on the streets, and how much confidence they had in the police. It then compiled the results into scores out of 100 and created an index ranking each country by its overall law as well as the order score. The Minister of Communications, Knowledge and Technology of the Republic of Botswana, Thulangano Merafe Sekoko, the Minister of Information, Communication and Technology of the Republic of Namibia, Pea Mushelenga, have joined forces to help accelerate the uniformity of roaming charges across the Southern African Development Community region in order to facilitate the implementation of the single digital market in accordance with the cost-based roaming project as decided by SADC ministers responsible for information and communication in June 2023. Currently, Botswana is accessing the West Africa Fiber Network cable system through Namibia. Recognizing the significance of mobile telecommunication services in promoting bilateral relations, the two ministers agreed that the Communications Regulatory Authority of Namibia, as well as the Botswana Communications Regulatory Authority, in consultation with mobile network operators, should develop a collaborative framework in order to reduce roaming charges between Namibia and Botswana. The two ministers agreed to put the SADC ministers' decision into effect by the end of March 2024. Moving over to our next story. In some other African news, Africa seeks action plan on slavery reparations at Ghana conference.
So it is time for Africa.
Financial reparations are long overdue, Ghana's president said on Tuesday, as compensation for the transatlantic slave trade. Nana Akufo-Addo was speaking on the first day of a reparations conference in Accra.
No amount of money can restore the damage caused by the transatlantic slave trade and its consequences, which have spanned many centuries. But surely, this is a matter that the world must confront and can no longer ignore.
Advocates have long called for reparations or other ways to make amends for slavery. The movement has recently gained momentum amid growing demands from African and Caribbean countries. From the 15th to the 19th century, at least 12.5 million Africans were kidnapped and sold into slavery. Those who survived the brutal voyage to the Americas were forced to work on plantations under inhumane conditions, while European settlers and others profited from their labor. Togo's Prime Minister Victoire Tomega-Dogbe said the psychological trauma continues to resonate across generations.
The scars of exploitation, dispossession, and cultural erasure persist, manifesting themselves in contemporary challenges such as economic inequality, political instability, and cultural disintegration.
The four-day reparations conference is expected to produce an Africa-led action plan to push for reparatory justice. It intends to establish a committee of experts to oversee the plan's implementation and boost collaboration with the broader diaspora. But Akufo-Addo said there's something else required for the entire continent of Africa: a formal apology from European nations involved in the slave trade.
In our Story of the Day segment, we take a look at the Give Hope charity project. Stay with us.
We are so excited to be kickstarting your morning with entertainment. Everything was happening during this past weekend.
Yes.
Exciting news.
Wow, no, she was killing it already.
In my opinion, I don't see anything wrong with him serving the full term.
As well as keeping you informed on the issues that you need to know happening in and around our country.
NTV, under Smell the Coffee, is proud to announce the Give Hope charity project. Each week, starting 27 November, awareness will be created on one organization in Namibia.
Each one rich one is a statement that we constantly hear, but how many of us are walking the talk? Today in studio, I am joined by Yolanda Nell, who has been putting her foot, her hands, and everything where her mouth is. She's here to talk about charity, and her charity is called Give Hope. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm so well. Thank you, and yourself.
I'm fantastic. Please tell us about the work that you're doing for our community.
Okay, so at NMH, we believe it's very important to give back to the communities in our country, and not only focusing on the Kommas region, but really to take it as far as we possibly can. So NMH, with Smell the Coffee as the main sponsor for this, we will go to 4 charities, starting on the 27th of November, and each charity will have a week where we just give thanks to what they do for the communities, and it's important to give back, and it's important to get individuals and businesses involved in that.
Yeah, I know you briefly touched on, why it is important to give back to the community, but can you maybe just stretch more on why is it really important for us to have these type of charities in our communities and so forth?
The thing is, when we look at Namibia as a nation, there's so many people that need assistance, and financially and economically, there's a lot of groups that's really struggling to get by, and we're all feeling the pinch. From an NMH side of view, we have the platform.
Yes.
We are reaching the masses, and we have to use that platform to make sure the messages comes across, and that if you like animals, that there is organizations where I can reach out to and can help.
Yeah, and then who are the beneficiaries of this particular charity that NMH and Smell the Coffee is spearheading?
It was so difficult to choose 4 charities, but starting on the 27th of November, we will be focusing on AIDS, and the charity we have is the Catholic AIDS Action. So they have this mission for December to give back to the children that are living with HIV/AIDS.
Okay.
So they're getting gift boxes already, and that will be distributed across the country, which is nice because the reach is more national, and not locally in the Kommas region. And then the second charity we will look at is NMH is taking hands with the Round Table 34 here in Windhoek, and they have a very nice Christmas campaign running at the moment, and we will have that interview tomorrow in Smell the Coffee. But there's a nice little Christmas tree at Marua Mall, and there's kids' names on the tree.
Oh,
so
nice.
you can go choose a child's name and go buy a gift for that child, and then you drop it off again at Marua Mall. They do all the wrapping and stuff, so you just have to spend a couple of bucks and put a smile on a child's face. The third week we will focus on the Ark. That's an animal shelter in Omaruru, and they are currently planning on getting bigger premises, and they have 35 dogs and 30 cats currently in their care, and with the new premises they will have capacity for more animals even. And then finally, our last charity will focus on the elderly people at an old age home. And it's so important to give back to the people who has walked before us.
Yes.
And they shouldn't be forgotten. And we still have a lot to learn from the generations before us.
Definitely.
Yes.
In economic news after the break, we look at the financial injection the Andrada mining company received. Stay with us.
Take a load off and tune into another episode of Brave Namibia as we take a look at both ordinary and extraordinary Namibians. Brave Namibia is broadcasted on NTV Saturdays at 6:30 p.m. and oneup2.com, as well as broadcasted on the following Facebook platforms on Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. Republicane, Algemeine Zeitung, Namibian Sun, and all Namibia Media Holdings pages. For more information, contact the Brave team at brave@synergy.com.na. Brave Namibia, for the ordinary and extraordinary Namibians.
Andrada Mining Limited has received $25 million, about 454 million Namibian dollars, from Orion Resource Partners to boost operations at its mine at Uis, the company said. This partnership with Orion will not only enable the expansion of tin production up to 2,000 tons per annum, but will also allow them to accelerate their wider lithium and tin development surrounding the Uis mine. This according to Andrada CEO Anthony Viljoen on the Namibian Stock Exchange, where the company is dual listed. The news followed shortly after Andrada said it renewed off-take agreements with the Thailand Smelting and Refining Coal Limited and Afrimet Resources AG for tin concentrate and tantalum concentrate from its Uis mine. The combined $25 million funding package comprises $12.5 million unsecured tin royalty, a $2.5 million equity subscription for 30.5 million ordinary shares, and a $10 million unsecured convertible loan note. The $12.5 million from the royalty will be allocated to increasing tin production at the Uis mine. The balance of $12.5 million net of costs is expected to accelerate the lithium and tantalum revenue streams following the drilling results and milestones achieved this year. Let's head into the indicators. The Namibian dollar trades at 18.36 next to the US dollar, with 22.78 Namibian dollars getting you 1 British pound. Looking at commodities, copper and Brent crude oil made some dips of 0.68 and minus 0.405 respectively, whilst gold and platinum are in the green. In international news, we look at an update on the journalists killed in Gaza. Stay with us.
Newsprint Namibia is a web offset printing operation that specializes in the printing of newspapers and commercial inserts. We are the leaders in our industry, with the highest quality print work and the shortest turnaround time from computer to print and delivery anywhere in the country daily. Newsprint was established mainly as a newspaper print company, but had to diversify its business to do commercial printing as required in the market. We print commercial inserts previously printed in South Africa in the shortest possible time. We, as an organization, also started printing workbooks for our education system and will also print textbooks for the Namibian market. For more information, please contact print@newsprint.com.
At least 35 Palestinian journalists and media workers have been killed, several have been injured, and others are missing during the war in Gaza. The International Federation of Journalists and the Palestinian Journalists Syndicate condemned the killings and continued attacks on journalists. The IFJ calls for an immediate investigation into their deaths. The IFJ General Secretary Anthony Belanga said that media workers in areas of armed conflict must be treated and protected as civilians and allowed to perform their work without interference. The IFJ calls on all combatants in this conflict to do their utmost to safeguard journalists and media professionals. There is intense and deeply concerned interest in this conflict all around the world, but people will only be able to understand what is really going on if journalists are allowed to do their work. According to the IFJ website, during the first weekend when the war started, Israeli retaliatory airstrikes destroyed the headquarters of several media outlets. Stay with us as we head into the weather predictions shortly.
Welcome to My.NA Cars, your ultimate destination for everything automotive.
I am your host, Diana Master. Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Discover the latest models, innovative technologies, and expert insights from our passionate hosts. Learn essential maintenance tips and get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to the automotive industry. Don't miss My.NA Cars on NTV every Thursday at 2100 hours. Tune in and ignite your passion for automobiles.
Let's head into the weather. It is partly cloudy and hot in Karaskavango and Zambezi regions. Elsewhere, partly cloudy and warm to hot with a few to isolated thunder showers, but scattered thunder showers in the Kunene and Oshodonjupa regions in places. Windy weather is expected to persist in the interior. At the coast, it's partly cloudy, mild to warm. As far as wind goes, moderate northwesterly to fresh southwesterly. Sunrise in Windhoek is 6 a.m. and the sunset is 14 minutes past 7 p.m. Stay with us as we head to the Sports Wrap desk for our sports news.
Hello and welcome to today's Sports Wrap Show.
I am your host, Jesse Jackson Kauraifa. In replay, Namibia, who had won the toss for the first time on this tour.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, starting off with tennis news, both on the WTA for women's and Good day everyone, time for international sports news and starting off with tennis news first. It's the ATP finals continuing in Turin in Italy and a big result for Daniil Medvedev and he's through to the semi-finals. So he will definitely play in the semi-finals. That's after beating Alexander Zverev by 7-6 and 6-4. Alexander Zverev earlier in the tournament beat Carlos Alcaraz, number 2 in the world. So both of them can still go through to the semi-finals. Tough route now for Carlos Alcaraz, but he did do better in his second game. He beat Andrei Rublev by 7-5 and 6-2. And it is Carlos Alcaraz that can still qualify for the semi-finals, but now he needs to beat the in-form Daniil Medvedev. In the other side of the draw, there's 4 other players playing, trying to get into the semi-finals, and the 2 favorites at the moment to go into the semi-finals is Novak Djokovic, number 1 in the world, and also Jannik Sinner, that's in good form at the moment. The finals will be played on Sunday, and that tournament being played in Turin in Italy. Moving on to motor racing news, it is the Las Vegas Grand Prix coming up. It's the second last Grand Prix of the year, and it is a triple world champion Max Verstappen that said that he's not looking forward to the race. He said that it's 99% show and 1% a sporting event, and I suppose that's what you expect from Las Vegas. And it's Las Vegas that's on the Grand Prix calendar again, and they've signed a 10-year deal, so there's going to be lots of Las Vegas racing in the future. It is Lewis Hamilton. He was more positive. He's currently third on the points table, and Lewis Hamilton said that he feels that it's amazing. It's an amazing race, and he's very excited to race on Sunday, the Las Vegas Grand Prix. 105,000 spectators expected at the Las Vegas Grand Prix. Both Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton do have different things they want to achieve at the Grand Prix. It is Max Verstappen that has nothing to achieve actually besides winning a Grand Prix. He's already won the championship of 2023, and it's Lewis Hamilton still racing to try and finish second. At the moment, Lewis Hamilton is third on 226 points in his Mercedes-Benz, and he's chasing Sergio Perez in a Red Bull Honda on 258. And it is also Fernando Alonso. He's on 198 in fourth position in his Aston Martin. After the Las Vegas Grand Prix, it will be next week, the last one that will be in Abu Dhabi. That's on the 24th of November. And closing off today's international sports news with soccer news, it is Newcastle United playing in the English Premier League. They've got a difficult season at the moment, 7th on the log with 20 points after 12 games, and it is Manchester City leading by 28 points after 12 games. And it's Newcastle looking to sign a new forward. Apparently, they're looking at Ferran Torres. He's playing at Barcelona, and he's playing in the Spanish national team. So that's news from Newcastle. Also on the signings, it is 3 big teams that look for a new defender, and that is Chelsea, Liverpool and Manchester City. Apparently they're monitoring the movements of Bayern Munich 23-year-old Alphonso Davies, and Alphonso Davies also plays for Canada, and it will be interesting to see what happens in January. That's when there's a January transfer window in international football. That's international sports news for today. Hope you have a great sport day, and we talk international sport again tomorrow. Goodbye.
eTicket, your online ticket solution for events and event marketing, bringing you ease of mind and making sure that your event gets out there. For more information, contact events@nmh.com.na.
Welcome to What's Cooking, where culinary passion meets expert insights.
Somebody must really want to cook and want to cook good food.
Immerse yourself in the bustling world of professional kitchens as top chefs create mouthwatering dishes. Join us for in-depth interviews as our host explores the experiences and expertise of our guest chefs. Don't miss out. Tune in to What's Cooking on NTV every Friday at 2100 hours, and let the culinary adventure begin.
Thank you for staying with Sunset News throughout this evening's broadcast. Some of you may have missed our top stories. Worry not, let's get into the highlights. Namibia just missed the list of the top 10 countries in the world when it comes to safety. Namibia has again been ranked actually as one of the worst countries when it comes to law and order by global polling group Gallup, which has published the results of its latest poll taken from more than 140 countries. Overall, Namibia got a law and order score of 62. In economic news, Andrada Mining Limited has received $25 million, which is about 454 million Namibian dollars, from Orion Resource Partners, and this is in order to boost operations at its mine at US, the company said. This partnership with Orion will not only enable the expansion of tin production, up to 2,000 tons per annum, but will also allow them to accelerate their wider lithium and tin development surrounding the mine. And at least 35 Palestinian journalists and media workers have been killed. Several have been injured and others are missing during the war in Gaza. The International Federation of Journalists and the Palestinian Journalists Syndicate condemned the killings and continued attacks on journalists. The IFJ calls for an immediate investigation into their deaths. Now, according to the IFJ website, during the first weekend when the war started, Israeli retaliatory airstrikes destroyed the headquarters of several media outlets. And with that, we have come to the end of the broadcast. Do make sure you join Sunset News on Facebook, on all the NMH platforms, on weekdays and Sundays, as well as on our website, oneup2.com. Sunset News also screens on DSTV channel 285 and GoTV channel 25. This has been Sunset News. Don't end your day without us.